The most unspeakable crimes of the past century involved genocide. In the aftermath, countries were devastated and survivors left destitute and demoralized. During the 1994 genocide in Rwanda, an estimated 800,000 people were massacred in just 100 days. Many fled to neighboring countries, but were soon expelled. A new Rwandan government repatriated nearly 1 million returning refugees. Their villages had been looted or destroyed, so most were resettled in an empty wildlife park.
When people first moved back into this area, they reverted to traditional means to take care of themselves. So the first thing they constructed were grass houses to sleep in. For protection, they would build thorn fences around their homesteads to protect them from wildlife or intruders at night. And these little huts would barely protect them against the rain. There were no roads, there were no schools. The job has just been enormous in trying to create that infrastructure.
Rebuilding from the ashes and bones of a genocide seemed hopeless to many. To accomplish this, the new Rwandan government partnered with a consortium of international organizations specializing in disaster relief and community development. Among them was Food for the Hungry.
The three major things the Food for the Hungry is helping the survivors is to help them in having accommodation to those who don't have houses. That's one. Two, assisting them in generating small income generating activities where they can keep on reaping funds to assist them. Then three, assist them in reuniting them with the rest of the society.
Since its founding in 1971, Food for the Hungry has provided disaster and emergency relief on nearly every continent. Volunteers partnered on relief and rebuilding projects here after the genocide.
It was chaotic. There were people in camps in the Congo and various places. So we initially began doing health and other work in the camps themselves. Then as people began to return from those camps, we initiated a publicity program, basically, which enabled us to reunify children with their parents, some of them having been separated for many, many months. We worked with children who had been victimized by all of this and left to fend for themselves. We did some work with the government to try to help farmers re-establish themselves. So we did some programming with small animal distribution, tool distribution. All of these were the things that you do after an emergency to try to help people pick up their lives again.
After the initial relief, redevelopment programs begin. They are often three-way partnerships involving an international organization with their volunteers rebuilding alongside a government and its people in need. This model, used by Food for the Hungry, employs local residents to work on each project.
One of the issues with a program like ours is the balance between expatriate staff and local staff. We try to help our local staff not only be employed but develop career paths. In fact, one of our country directors in Africa has come out of our program.
Food for the Hungry prefer to work with local staff, like me, for example, because I live in this community and I know the people most, and being in the community helps me much to know their problems and the possible ways to address them.
Undaunted by hard work and primitive conditions in remote places, church members sign up for training, then they travel to destitute regions and help rebuild a community for the long term.
Church partners come to participate with us for a multitude of reasons, but particularly they come with a sense of a biblical mandate to participate. Where Jeremiah commanded the exiles to build houses, live in them, plant gardens, get married, have children, and seek the peace and prosperity of their community. That's what we want for the communities in which we work. Church partners come under God's grace to help us see that happen.
Food for the Hungry engaged 55 churches and other groups in North America for its Community to Community, or C2C program. One is Highlands Church in Scottsdale, Arizona. These volunteers were partnered with a Rwandan community that lacked infrastructure. They have been working collaboratively for 2 years with genocide survivors in the Rimiyaga sector. Together, they are building a sustainable community.
The way we want a partnership is not to come in and just tell them what they should do, or come in and build a building or work at an orphanage, though those might be wonderful things. We're trying to come along and walk and partner with the community and make sure that we do what they think is most important in the community. With that, we're working with the leaders to determine a plan in 5 areas, including health and education and businesses.
The C2C Partnership Program includes setting sustainable goals for a community's transformation.
We have a 10 to 15 year commitment in the Gachandezi community here in Rwanda. And I can see that the relationships that we're building are getting deeper and more sustainable. Some of the goals are improving the educational system by building new classrooms, working with the teachers to improve the quality of the education. Number 2 is working with the church leaders to build new churches. And number 3 I'm really excited about is the business opportunity in areas of dairy, agricultural, and other multiple business opportunities.
C2C volunteers remain connected with their partner communities. They tend to forge loving, lifetime relationships.
It's really humbling to come and work with these wonderful people who, for the most part, just haven't been given the same advantages that some of us in the West have had. We've developed incredible relationships so far that we will continue to write and be in constant contact with these folks.
Child sponsorships can help humanitarian organizations fund education programs in impoverished countries. One example is the Children Under the Trees program in Rwanda. Clusters of trees once served as the only classroom for children of genocide survivors. Food for the Hungry volunteers and K-Love Christian radio listeners partnered to build 36 classrooms so far. Sponsorships support the education programs. These offer tangible hope that a transition from poverty to productivity is possible in Rwanda.
In the past, they used to study outside, and they could miss their lessons whenever it rained, but now they are following up their lessons. If it rains, still they have to continue with their studies, and now this is helpful in their performance.
We've seen children continue to come in larger numbers. The staff are staying longer. This has given us signs of hope that the children in these communities will have a better future through education. This is a resettlement area. People are continuing to move in, and the job before us isn't finished.
Volunteering for a development project far from home in a poor country can provide rewarding opportunities to make a difference in the world. Many say the C2C experience transforms recipients and volunteers alike.
The impact our sponsor child has had on our life has been incredibly significant. When we get to come visit him and we see what he lives with, and he is completely happy and content, as is all his family, it makes us realize we need to be completely reliant only on Jesus Christ, and that is it for our happiness. We don't need all the material possessions.
Volunteers with Food for the Hungry go to the hardest places in the world.
Intambara yansanze mu Rwanda, nza gukubitwa ntotejwe, banyicira mama ndora, n'izindi ngaruka nyinshi.
For 40 years, we've provided disaster relief and development in every continent. You can too.
I'm making a difference. I'm trying to help build a better community for survivors in Rwanda.
Help ease physical and spiritual hungers around the world. Come walk with churches, community leaders, and families, bringing help and hope where it's needed most.
We're all making a difference. We're helping rebuild Rwanda.
Answer the call and make a difference. Give, go, and grow with us. Get your church involved.
The Food for the Hungry vision is that God called and we responded until physical and spiritual hungers ended worldwide. Not an obligation, but a joyful invitation, a privilege that God gives us to share His love around the world. Saw this in Bolivia. The children in this village of Tomoyo, they gave us handmade hearts. And on those hearts were the words, "Your heart is left here in the village of Tomoyo." That's my invitation to you, to share your own heart and God's heart with people around the world.
To walk with us and make a difference, contact Food for the Hungry at 800-248-6437 or visit fh.org.